Hosanna, loud Hosanna, the happy children sang. Good morning. It's Palm Sunday. And in hospitals across Canada today, wards stand empty, waiting for the avalanche of patients with COVID-19 that doctors know will take place. Provisions are being made to bring second-line health workers to the front lines when those that are currently there become infected. And as the Premier of Quebec has said, we, the whole of humanity, are in the battle of our lives. We do indeed have great cause to spend our days hunched over the news channel, becoming more and more anxious. Yet when I chance to look at Facebook or YouTube or watch the news, many of the top headlines and popular videos are no longer filled with stories of corruption or the U.S. election or the goings and comings of Meghan and Harry. I witness the amazing uprising of courageous, inventive, and artistic human spirits, sharing their songs, their talents, and their determination. I watched people in Italy singing to each other from their balconies. I watched a virtual children's choir made up from choirs from Boston and Cincinnati and Denver and Washington and even Sydney, Australia. I watched two doctors at the Mayo Clinic, a singer and a pianist. After their long shifts in surgery, in their spare time, they are creating YouTube videos and singing. Across the world, we are singing to each other in this time of great distress. And it made me wonder, was that the backdrop to that first Palm Sunday when Jesus came riding into town surrounded by crowds of people? The people had long been oppressed by the Roman overlords. They had long experienced the hypocrisy of a religious class that preached godly living, but were much more concerned with their own powers and privilege than they were with the misery of the commoners. Hosanna, loud Hosanna, sang the crowds. Blessed is he who comes in God's name. Hosanna in the highest heaven, they sang, as the gospel writer of Matthew tells us. Did they have any idea of the storm that was brewing? As they reached the outskirts of Jerusalem, the disciples went ahead as Jesus instructed them and found a donkey and its colt and brought them back. They placed their cloaks on the animals, and Jesus took his place on their backs. A very large crowd spread their cloaks on the road, and others cut branches from trees and spread them on the road as well. The crowds that went ahead of him and the crowds that followed after him were shouting and singing, Hosanna, loud Hosanna. Despite the Roman soldiers patrolling the streets during the high holiday that was Passover, despite the scowling looks of disapproval from the priests of the temple who were onlookers, the people sang. Down into the streets of Jerusalem they came, singing, in defiance and in celebration that they had at last found someone who spoke truth to power and understood that all of humanity needs to work together in order for our human project to work. Well, we know how the story of Jesus turned out, don't we? Those with vested interests in keeping things just as they were colluded to execute him. And that's how the story should have ended. But the power of the message of Jesus was so strong that it prevailed. And regardless of how well we think the institution of Christianity has been at applying the lessons of Jesus, we are the inheritors of his original message. And that message was that a united humanity is the only way we are going to survive. Jesus said it in a simpler way. He said, love one another. Now, you don't have to be Christian to commit to this notion. Just do it. The practice is much more important than the beliefs we have that encourage this practice. Surgeon singer Dr. Elvis Francois, the doctor I spoke of who works for the Mayo Clinic, says, in life there are many things that divide us: religion, race, politics, social status, and so much more. But today, a global pandemic brings us all together as one. When times are as dark as they are today, nothing shines brighter than the human spirit. There is something beautiful about a collective struggle. And the beauty in what we are facing today is that the only way to overcome this pandemic is for us all to come together as one. Nurses, doctors, students, research scientists, politicians, Uber drivers, cashiers, factory workers, you and me. Getting through this will be hard, but one thing is certain. The only way we will get through it is together as one. And to that I say, Amen. Amen. Before I leave you today, and if you are watching this on Palm Sunday, I invite you to take any bit of greenery you have and place it on your front door. Symbol that you too reject the voices of division and greed in this world, and that you too support all those voices across this world calling for unity and singing their way into our hearts. Don't forget to look for interesting links just below this video. God bless each and every one of you. Bye for this week.